Ain't no telling what I'm finna beyond. Hey, I'm beyond all that.
Hey, little mama, would you like to be my sunshine? Retouch my game.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Risky Radio. My name's Ben, aka Shopa, and I'll be your host tonight. Joining me, as always, Zach, aka Risky the Kid.
What up?
And Lewis, aka Waterloo.
Hey.
Mr. Flash himself over there. So, we got a question in our last podcast from friend of the show, Milk, stated, what was your drunkest moment in memory, I guess, because some of us might have some that we don't remember. We know that we have a bunch of stories, so we decided to make a special edition of Risky Radio to tell you all of these beautiful stories, or at least the ones we remember.
I would say the best drunk stories are probably told by your friends, not from yourself, because if you were drunk enough, you
shouldn't remember.
You shouldn't remember.
So is this just going to be basically revolved around me?
We're just going to tell all the drunk stories of you.
One.
All right, Lewis. Well, we'll start with you because I would think you probably have the most.
Why would I have the most?
So you're just a drunk guy.
I'm not the drunk guy. I'm the stone guy, but we'll go with the drunk guy for today.
So why don't you tell me about this one time that we were down in New York City?
Well, this one time in band camp.
You shoved the flute up your ass?
No.
Okay.
I never went to band camp.
Weird.
They would only let me play the triangle of the cymbal, so I didn't want to play.
Yo, play that shit hard, dog.
Yeah. Anyways, so one time when we were down in New York City, was I living there at this point in time, or is this when we were all visiting?
I think we were all visiting because
Okay.
it's like a year ago. This wasn't that long ago.
I managed to get extremely drunk. I don't even remember how I got extremely drunk.
I'm going to have to say alcohol, Bob.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying, like, I don't remember drinking that much. I guess I must have enough to do this.
Like we went to Barcade.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I do not remember that.
So we went. It's just it's a bar with a bunch of old school like arcade machines.
Was this the one night where we were down there and we started at the pizza/bar joint where you'd get a beer,
alligators or crocodiles?
You'd get a beer and a pizza.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I do remember this.
So you
now.
get a personal pizza every time you ordered a beer.
Yeah.
So maybe you're probably just so hungry.
I wasn't eating pizzas as much as
or
you guys.
that's.
I think I was drinking more than I was eating.
But so we ended up at Barcade and
Nice.
you got asked to leave, because we looked over and your head was down and you were just propped up against like a Street Fighter machine or something.
I was playing so hard. That's why.
Just playing so hard that you fell asleep.
Yep.
Leaning over an arcade table.
Mm.
So you got asked to leave.
Definitely
so
wasn't my first time leaving a bar because I fell asleep.
that. I mean, when
Yikes.
you're at least you're not like being a tickhead or anything when you're.
Most
That's
times I'm
true.
not a dickhead when I'm drunk.
You're a sleepy drunk. You're not a...
No, I'm definitely
dickhead drunk.
depends on what I'm drinking. Because there are times where I. Side note, another time I got really drunk. It was flip night. We were up on SU Hill, and this was the day before I started a new job as a manager at Jimmy John's, and we were drinking heavily, and we were playing the flip game. If you guessed the flip right, you got a free beer. I won a lot, and
So didn't pay for a lot of alcohol.
it didn't pay for a lot of alcohol. But anyways, we went outside, and we were going to get Jimmy John's subs. And I guess I wound up barfing on the front of Jimmy John's. And this was the day before I was going in to be their manager.
Just like out on the glass on the front of the store.
Yep. Our buddy Kirk ran in and just said to all the employees, "Your new manager just threw up on your store." And
What a great friend.
yes, definitely. And then I definitely remember hitting him and then threw someone's sub across the street.
Was that the same night that you tried to bribe a bunch of bouncers by buying them subs?
No, I don't think that was the
Do you
same
remember
night.
that?
I do remember that, yeah.
Or no, you said that you were trying to get some street cred.
Yeah, probably.
So you bought Jimmy John's subs and you were handing them out to the bouncers by the bars.
Yeah, and they gave me free drinks.
No, they didn't, because
Are
they're
you sure?
bouncers and they can't give you free drinks.
No, they can give you free drinks. They gave us free drinks when we were at Jimmy John's, at least.
Bouncers at Jimmy John's? Why are
No,
there
bouncers at the bar would give us free drinks at Jimmy John's.
Right.
But anyways, Yeah, I barfed on the store. My man, he ran in saying your new manager just barfed all over the front of the store. The next day was pretty embarrassing. One of the employees comes over to me and goes, "So you're Lewis?" I'm like, "Yeah, what'd you hear?" "Mad props for barfing on the front of the store and now being our manager." So it gave me street cred with the kids. At least they listened to me more because
you could puke all over them?
because I can puke and get drunk and party with them just as much as any college kid, I guess.
Well, I think, and the fact that you came back next day and worked it.
Oh yeah, I owned that shit.
You booed?
I'm pretty sure there was still puke on the front, front of the store.
To this day.
And you didn't go clean it
Oh
up?
fuck no, no,
He's
sir.
the manager.
Yeah,
He
I was
doesn't
actually
do
manager
that.
in training at that point in time. But yeah, back to New York City.
Yeah, so you got kicked out of this bar.
I got kicked out of a bar.
So me and Jess took you.
Oh, Jess.
We took.
I wish she
up.
took me. But no, before we go to the taking part, another Kirk again, our buddy. He comes outside, and I guess I'm leaning against a trash can now, and he's told me that I looked at him and I go, "Kirk, if I die, at least I lived." I don't even know what that meant. But then back to you and Jess
True,
taking
I
me somewhere.
guess.
Yeah, nice. I'm glad we're taking time to read this.
You could have kept talking.
Could-
It's your story. You keep going.
Well, he was taking me somewhere with Jess.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
don't
that's
I don't
right.
know where they took
I
me.
was saying I forgot you didn't remember.
Yeah. So I kind of need help with this story, not
All right.
just having you guys read your text watch.
So we're finally all out of the bar, and we cross the street. We're ready to go, and then I looked over at this was after I think you probably catcalled some girls that walked by.
Oh no, I definitely did because I remember I was chasing them and Jess followed me down so I wouldn't chase them.
Yeah, because you get fucking arrested for shit like that.
But they were pretty. I think
It
they
doesn't
wanted
matter.
something to do with me.
No,
they weren't
I
running
don't-
yet.
They were in heels. They couldn't.
Perfect.
So once we got you back, we had settled down. We were trying to figure out what we were doing. I looked over at you, and you had this big clump of dirty ass styrofoam,
No, it was a burrito.
and you were eating it.
I was eating styrofoam. Yes.
You were eating a square block of New York's finest fucking street garbage, literally garbage, off the fucking streets.
Did someone tell me to eat it? Because
Dude, no one told you. to
I'm
eat
pretty
it.
sure someone told me to
No,
eat
the
it.
next day you were like, I thought I was eating a burrito. And I
Because
was
you
like,
showed me the video and it looked like a burrito in my hand.
yeah, you like had rolled up the fucking piece. I wish I knew where that video was.
So do I.
So we were like, all right, Lewis, what the fuck? No, you can't eat styrofoam. And then me and Jess, I think, were like, all right, we're going to take Lewis back to the house. You guys can keep going on or whatever. So we got an Uber, got a cab, and we're on our way to our destination.
Yep.
You're sitting in the middle.
Definitely don't remember this.
You definitely are just yelling shit at the driver. That goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not yelling, just conversing with him.
Oh, yeah,
the
I
best,
conversed with
the
the
best you were able,
Yeah.
to the best of your ability.
Which
Um,
was
burrito.
Yeah, exactly. And so about 5-10 minutes into our ride,
Did he kick us out of the
no, we didn't get kicked out of the cab.
Okay, nice. Was the windows rolled down that I was yelling out?
No, you were in the middle. We
Oh, I
put
was
you in the middle,
middle.
so you couldn't be an asshole.
damn
You
it.
couldn't.
That's smart.
move.
And so we're on our way back, and then you
Ooh.
pulled a fucking chunk of styrofoam out of your pocket.
What? Obviously, what is this telling you guys? You
You
guys are
thought you
bad
had a
friends.
burrito in your pocket?
No, this is you guys being real bad friends. I am so hungry that I'm eating styrofoam because I think it looks like a burrito. This is where you guys should have been like, oh, this is the cue to get Lewis food, not just to say, hey, no, don't eat styrofoam. You know?
That was way funnier.
Oh, I would have probably let my friend eat some styrofoam too. But
Yeah, so I looked over and you had just pulled another giant chunk of styrofoam out of your fucking pocket or something, and you're chowing down on another chunk of styrofoam.
street styrofoam,
Just New York City,
delicious.
dirty styrofoam.
Yeah, the next day was pretty rough. I think I was drunk most of the day. Didn't we play soccer in the park?
Oh, you definitely didn't play
I
soccer.
remember standing there and maybe kicking the ball once or twice.
Yeah, that was bad. That I don't know if it was that same night, but we had all split up at some point, and I tried to take the train back to Queens to Gabe's house, and I passed out on the subway. I'm sure you've passed out on the subway before.
Oh,
We'll get
yeah,
to that in a
yes.
second. But I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and I had missed Gabe's stop, our friend Gabe, by, I don't know, a couple stops. So I had to go back. But you do a lot of sleeping on the subway?
Yeah.
When you're wasted?
Another time I was pretty wasted. I went out with a friend of mine who I knew in California. She had moved back to New Jersey, and she was in town, so I met her down somewhere in the Brooklyn area. I don't know where. But I managed to make it there, and partied, danced, and got pretty drunk. And the next morning around like 10 o'clock, I had to meet Ben to look at apartments. And I remember getting on the train around maybe 3 in the morning, and in Brooklyn, all of a sudden I woke up and I was in the Bronx.
Oh, that's like a fucking, what's that, 2 hours almost?
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I fell asleep. So I got up, got on the other train, going back, fell asleep again, woke up at the end of it in Brooklyn again. So I had managed to go back to Brooklyn, to the Bronx, all the way back to Brooklyn, and then I rode it to my place, and was able to get out. And I think I eventually made it home around like 8:30. Took like an hour and a half nap, and then met up with Ben to go apartment hunting.
I would assume when you were doing your interviews for those apartments that they probably weren't too excited to have you as a tenant.
I was pretty okay because I got a lot of sleep on the train.
I guess that's true. You did get a fair amount of sleep. It just happened to be on the subway.
So that was another pretty drunk night where
Leave it plugged in.
Where I was just, falling asleep on trains. I wasn't really drunk. It wasn't an embarrassing story. It was just a stupid falling asleep on the train story.
What else? We lived in San Diego for a while.
Oh, this was a good one. I think this podcast is just how drunk does your friend Lewis get? And this is why I don't drink that much anymore.
Very is the answer to that, but I'd love to hear another story.
So yeah, we were in San Diego. Me, Zach, and our buddy Diffin Ben and Casey.
I was best for that earlier.
And we were. It was, what was it? St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day. That was terrible. Sorry. That was just really bad. I'll get it again later. But anyways, I was working at this awesome cafe on the beach, and Zach and our buddy Ben all of a sudden just come in and they're drunk, and it's St. Patrick's Day. They're rubbing it in that they're drinking at in the middle of the day on St. Patrick's Day. So I was like, okay, I see how this is. So I wind up getting out of work, and I go home, and you guys are still drinking. You guys seem pretty drunk. You guys are laughing. So I'm like, okay, I want to catch up with them. So you know that song that goes, shots, 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 shots. I pretty much did that, but by myself.
I was going to say, you played the hardest game of catch-up I've ever seen played in my life.
Because I took like 1 or 2 shots, and I'm like, okay. And I wasn't feeling anything, so I took like 3-4 more. And I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to feel a little bit. But then at this time, I see Ben. He goes into the alleyway, and he pukes. And he goes, oh, man, I just puked. It looks just like spaghetti.
Because it fucking was spaghetti.
It literally looked like he just took spaghetti out of a saucepan and poured it on the ground. And then pretty sure he says a cat's eating it. So when I'm hearing our buddy Ben, who's like super...
It's one of the smartest kids you know.
Smart, yeah, definitely smartest kids you know, and wouldn't let a cat eat puke on normally. I was like, okay, I'm definitely nowhere near their
level.
So I go in and take like 4 or 5 more shots. Yeah, that's where it ends.
You don't remember the rest of that story?
Nope. I wake up next morning.
Were you a little wet and cold?
I was a little wet and cold. I feel really bad for our friend Casey because...
Were you in his bed?
No, I was in my own bed.
Oh, okay.
But do I have to tell the next story too?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Anyways, I wake up and poor Casey, all he wanted to do was go out that night. And he gets home, and I guess I'm passed out, you're passed out, and Ben's too drunk to do anything. So he just wound up going to bed.
So you woke up in a puddle of your own piss?
It could have been piss. You guys could have been assholes and spilled water on me.
Nah, you
100%.
You got wasted and woke up in a puddle of cold
stuff.
I drank a lot of shots really quickly. I probably took over 17 shots within like 20 minutes.
My favorite thing to do in San Diego was to get drunk and then take baths.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
You did that a lot. You just get drunk and then go in the bathtub.
I just get drunk and I'd be like, man, I'm cold. And instead of like getting sweatpants and a blanket on, I'd just like make the bathtub as hot as it could go, and I'd just strip down to my boxers and then I'd just go fall asleep in the hot tub.
Yeah, it's not
Probably
very safe.
not the safest thing.
No.
Definitely could have drowned. But somebody definitely took. There's pictures of me somewhere.
Oh,
just
yeah.
curled up in the fetal position in a fucking bathtub.
One about you. This one's pretty good.
Uh-oh.
I wish I was there for most of it. It was an SU game, I'm pretty sure. And you, Casey, you guys had vuvuzelas, and you were like blowing them at people and yelling at people and being really drunk. This like lady, I guess, was like, "Oh, could you please stop that?" So Zach, being drunk Zach, he decided to point it at her and blow it even louder.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then
I'm more of an asshole when I get drunk. If
this-
I'm not fucking obliterated, then I just can't function.
this night was Sounders were playing, so I was coming over to watch the Sounders game.
Dude, this wasn't an SU game. This was St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, it was St.
I
Patrick's
was
Day.
gonna-
Okay. St.
Because
Patrick's
I had
Day.
vuvuzelas because the parade or whatever.
Okay, yeah. And you were being really obnoxious, I guess, at the parade.
Oh, definitely just
But I'm
blowing
pretty
those
sure it
things
was
in people's
Beezer
ears.
that was egging you on as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Anytime you get drunk with Beezer, it's usually halfway bad news.
Yeah, he's not a very good drunk friend to have.
I know. But yeah, so I come over to your guys' house after the St. Patrick's Day parade, and I'm all pumped to watch this Sounders game, and everyone's downstairs, and I'm like, "Where's Zach?" They're like, "He's upstairs." So I go upstairs, look in your room, no Zach. I opened up the bathroom. You're just on the floor, passed out in front of the toilet, hugging it, and I'm like, "Okay, so you're gonna watch the Sounders game?" No, this isn't game win.
I felt so bad because we were supposed to like watch the Sounders game, then like play a bunch of video games because we weren't living together or anything. You like
No.
came out to see me.
Yeah.
I was at Jay Ryan's, which is a local bar that's close to there. I remember going into that bathroom and just throwing up everywhere, and then after that, going outside, taking a selfie and sending it to my mom. It was me and Beezer. We took a selfie, and then
Oh, boy.
immediately after that, I was sitting on the sidewalk and I just started throwing up all over the sidewalk. I don't drink a ton, but usually when I aim to get drunk, I fucking just
Go so past it.
I cross that line into just obliterated. So that's why I don't drink a lot, and I always feel horrible. My
next
hangovers
day?
are fucking the worst. I don't get headaches. I get super nauseous, and I can't like. It'll ruin my whole fucking next day. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yep.
But, you were saying, Beezer. So, one night we went out to our local bars and
This is that one.
back at the old house, a couple miles from here, and everybody was having a good time. Lewis was, of course, just
Having a good time.
having more fun than everybody else, and he went up to the bar and he was like, "You guys want car bombs?" And he was like asking me and Tyler or whoever, and we were all like, "No, we're good, Lou. Like, we're good. Nobody needs those. You probably don't even need them." And
Yeah,
he turns around to the bartender and he's just like, "I'll take 3 car bombs." And I was like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" So I had to drink one. You drank one. Somebody else took a bullet
I think
and
it was
drank
probably
one.
me.
Or you drank 2 of them.
I probably drank 2 of them.
I could only drink one because otherwise,
They're so good.
I would
you
end
would have
up
been
like
with
you.
me. Yeah.
and I left that bar pretty much right after that because you started throwing napkins and fucking straws at the bartender.
Don't remember doing that or
Oh,
why I
weird.
would do it.
You're probably trying to get her attention, and
I
she's
was
like,
gonna say, was
"We're
it
not
a
serving
female?
you."
Yeah.
Was it what?
Was it a female?
No, it was an older bartender though, so
That
it
doesn't
definitely
matter for
wasn't
drunk
like
Lewis.
I don't think it was like that. I think he probably was like, "I want 5 more car bombs."
Yeah, it's probably
and
asking
she
for
was
more
like,
drinks.
"No, you can't drink anymore." And he was like, "Well, fuck you, eat some napkins."
Yeah.
So the next morning you woke up in our buddy Casey's bed with blood on you.
Yep. Not on his bed though.
Not on his bed.
On me.
So you had blood on you. You
Yep.
had no shoes.
No shoes.
No
phone.
No phone.
No phone. I had my wallet and
You
my
had
money.
your wallet. That was good.
But yeah, so I wasn't quite blacked out. It was more browned out. I remember parts here and there. One part I remember was I thought I was at your guys' house, and I was trying to open the door, and I thought you guys were playing a mean prank on me by keeping the back door locked. So I'm trying to open it and like banging on it, and all of a sudden some random guy comes to the door, and I'm like, "Let me in! I don't know who you are." And he pointed a finger at me, and I'm pretty sure he was either saying, "I'm going to kick your ass" or "You don't live here."
Definitely one or the other.
Yeah, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And I think he kept yelling at me, so eventually I left. Then I came to again, and I was petting a dog, and I'm like, "Hey, do you know?" I think I kept saying where you guys used to live on Tilden. Because I kept on asking this guy where Tilden Drive is or something, and he had no clue. So I'm like, dude, they live on Tilden. And he
You're
didn't
so
know.
fucking lucky. That dude could have straight up shot you.
Oh, the guy I was breaking into his house? Yeah.
Yeah, you're like
definitely.
smashing on his door, like, let me in. Like, that guy could have gunned you down on the fucking
Actually,
street.
no, technically, he wouldn't have the actual rights to shoot me because I hadn't broken into his house yet. I was still on the outside.
If he felt-
I would have shot you.
If he felt like he had to claim self-defense.
I took a class on it, and it's yes, but his life wasn't threatened. And
Oh, I don't
you
know,
can-
crazy drunk guy trying to break down my door.
And
I'm
I
feeling
wasn't
pretty threatened.
into his house yet, so he didn't have that right. But anyways, so I kept on asking this guy where Tilden was. He didn't know, so I asked him where James Street was. He pointed me in the right direction. Because I remember I kept pulling out my phone, trying to find my phone, and every time I pulled out something out of my pocket, it kept on being my wallet.
Or another napkin
yeah.
or a straw.
But anyways, I wound up stumbling home, feeling there was blood all over my face and my shirt, and then woke up the next morning.
No idea where your shoes went. No idea where your phone went.
Nope.
No idea how you got blood on yourself.
They were sandals. They were really comfortable
Or sandals.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
No idea how you had blood on you?
No clue.
No
Nosebleed.
You did have a cut up on your nose or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I might have. I
Like,
think
I feel like you probably just ran into like a street sign
or fell down or something.
Or
I
fell.
think I might have
Glasses hit
tripped.
your
Like they
face.
probably threw me out of the bar, and I probably just smashed my
Literally.
face.
Yeah,
You know.
but
So that was
that's
interesting.
That's drinking with Beezer though.
Yeah. Another night.
Jesus.
We were in San Diego. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but I remember we were drinking at the house, and then I filled up a bottle of water with gin, and I was drinking that, and I don't even remember making it to the party. Well, I remember making it to the bottom of the stairs of the party, and everyone else went up to the party, and they said, "Lewis, are you coming?" And I said, "No, I'm going to go do something else." And I had my own adventure that night. I remember running into our buddy Kian at some bars. I probably drank out. And then I remember chilling on a stoop or a sidewalk and people walking by and being like trying to talk with me. But I'm like, I'm just drunk. I lost visual. Don't worry about me. Keep going.
I lost visual.
But I still have audio.
I gotta go home.
But yeah, I don't know if I walked home that night or not.
I mean, you got home somehow, and none of us picked you up.
I think that was the night I got home. You guys texted me, "Hey, we're leaving now," and somehow I managed to be at the car. But there was another night where I walked home from Mission.
You're just a silly drunk. You shouldn't do stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I can think of other ones, but I think we're.
I think
we're
those are
for
good
me.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Ben? You got any?
I
Probably
don't
not on
drink
par with Lewis, but
terribly often, actually. And when I do, I'm typically DD or
you're also a
semi-DD-ish.
300 plus pound person, so the amount
Yes.
of alcohol you actually have to consume.
I've never been blackout. I remember every
Okay.
single situation. I've been heavily buzzed a couple of times.
Heavily buzzed.
Because
Nice.
I can definitely feel it, and I know that I'm not all there, but I still remember
So
everything.
you never lose control.
No.
That's
But so I do have one story.
Yeah.
So we have a friend who worked with us at Kinney's, and me and a buddy I went to school with, she asked us to watch over her house.
Mm-hmm.
She was going on vacation he was watching it for a whole week, but there was one key weekend that she wasn't going to be
Kiwi.
there.
Mhm.
Weekend?
Yeah,
You really
I
turned this
heard
into a
Just
into
keep
a
going.
joke. So he came up to me. He goes, "We're gonna throw a party at her house. No one's gonna be around. It's in the middle of nowhere in Tully. Actually, you guys might know. If I remember, Leah Hackett.
Leah Hackett, yeah. She was a grade above me.
We threw a party in her house while she was gone.
Nice.
And it got real weird. But so we planned this. We went over after work at like 3:00 and kind of tried to dummy proof the house a little bit. You know, lock the doors that we didn't want anybody to get into. Just keep
Yeah.
the main area open.
Put
course.
styrofoam on all the sharp edges.
Make sure there was a nice.
Good thing I
plat-
wasn't there because
Make sure-
that styrofoam would.
I was gonna say we put out a nice
a buffet for
platter,
Lewis.
this platter of styrofoam burritos. We just figured out where everyone was sleeping, and we, obviously prepared the alcohol and the nice festivities. People started coming over, and we noticed that the alcohol was going pretty quickly.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was before I really got deep into drinking, so I was still pretty sober at this point, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 beers down, and I was still perfectly fine. So he took me and 2 of my friends who weren't as sober down to the Nice and Easy, and I believe we spent upwards of $70 more on liquor and beer.
Well,
there.
obviously not liquor. You can't buy liquor from a gas station.
Yeah, you're right.
So you
probably
were
beer.
more buzzed than you thought.
He has
Maybe
no
I
idea
was.
where he was.
Maybe I was. Shit. Yeah, so we got way more booze, and we went back up there, and
No one was there.
no, everyone was there. It was a great party. We ended up doing shirts versus skins and beer pong, and we did naked laps, in which we smoked, like, me and my buddy smoked these 2 girls, and they did a naked lap.
Yeah, dump
Nice.
him out.
My girlfriend at the time and my buddy's girlfriend at the time went stripping or stripped and went running through the road up on North Road. Yeah, it was a great fun night, and the real story I love to tell. So it's like 2:30 in the morning. Everyone's like done drinking and gone to bed, and I gotta take a shit. A giant. I just drinking shit.
The booze poos. That's a thing.
So I opened the door. Like, I think there's a bathroom upstairs, but we never used it because it was like where they were. So if they noticed anything different, they would have really freaked out. But so I go into the bathroom downstairs, and my buddy Nate is just face down in the bathroom with his hand in the toilet. His hand
fuck? Trying to
just
fish
sitting in the
some
toilet.
poops out
He
of there?
probably was just puking his ass off and then like fell off of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I woke him up. I'm like, yo, I gotta take a shit. Get your hand out. And his straight face looked at me and goes, just shit with it in there. I can't feel it.
No. You didn't do it,
I was
did
like,
you?
no, man, I'm not shitting on your hand. That's gross. That's wrong. So I ended up putting him on my shoulder, taking him to his bed. His girlfriend was still awake. I was like, he's fucking gone. Please make sure
He just said
like,
shit on my hand.
stays on his side. Something. So then I went and took my shit, and we
It was a
attempted
good
to clean
night.
up, and it was a great night.
Yeah.
I thought you maybe took the shit while he was in there, just moved his hand. Like,
Yeah.
oh, God, I can't hold it. But
No,
That's where I was hoping it was going to go, but
no. I also quickly, I had a roommate when I went to Clarkson. On his birthday, a Tuesday, he started drinking at 8:30 a.m.
Mhm.
And so that night, when we went to bed, roughly between 2 and 3, I think,
That's a good day.
I duct taped him to his wall on
Was
his
he
bed.
just that drunk?
I did not want to run the chance of him doing something dumb, like throwing up in his own mouth and dying. So I duct taped him to the wall. He woke me up about an hour later, saying he had to piss real bad. So I cut him down from the wall. He jumped off of his bed onto his own box stand, put his foot through his box stand, proceeded to try and run to the bathroom with the box fan still on his foot for like 3 or 4 steps. And then as soon as he got outside of our door, it was just puking, little pukes all the way to the bathroom.
That's the worst.
that's horrible.
And then I retaped him back on his side on his bed.
Nice.
As well.
I don't have a ton. Mine are never really like ridiculous. It's usually just me getting plastered and then throwing up in all sorts of weird places. One of the first times I drank though was when me and Lou were living out in Rochester, which is a couple.
I don't think I was living with you because
Or you weren't living
You didn't
with-
drink back in the day when we like first went out to Rochester. You didn't start drinking until after.
Oh, we weren't
everyone
living in Rochester.
left.
Or
No, you were living in
I
Rochester.
was. You weren't.
You
Okay.
you were living with Wade. This was when me, Casey, and Ben
and you
were
guys
in
had already
San
headed
Diego.
out to San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was still, I had just started drinking then. And I went to a house party like down in the city of Rochester. And we were drinking, well, they gave me 4 Locos, which like everybody knows what those are. They're fucking deadly. But they never tasted bad. And if you're someone who's just starting to drink, it's like, oh, like
This is alcohol.
like
Yum.
getting drunk. This isn't bad. So we were sitting at a table for long enough for me to drink 2 4 full Loco, two full,
four Locos,
full
which was like
4
48
Locos.
ounces because they were
Which is-
24 ounces each.
Yeah, those
usually.
cans are fucking huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, like I'm pretty buzzed. Like maybe I'm close to getting drunk. And then they're like, all right, well let's go down to the bars. I fucking stood up after not having like moved since I started drinking, and I fell right on the floor, like face first. Just
Oh, that's
So-
fantastic.
that was horrible. And then we actually went to the bars, and we were at the bar, Mike Burns.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar.
Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I am too.
We were sitting there and we were trying to order drinks, and the only thing I was trying to focus on was not throwing up all over the bar. So I was like, I gotta go, and I left. And then I must have walked down a street or two or something, and I fell asleep in a pile of gravel, like near a construction site or something. Yeah, it was just this big, and I don't know if it felt like comfortable or squishy.
Well,
at
it
some
probably
point.
did at the time.
So, like, nobody could find me or anything, and then at 3-something in the morning after everything had closed, somebody finally found me face down in a pile of gravel. Like, that's a comfortable spot
a great
to
spot.
sleep. And then I had to work at fucking Friendly's the next day. I had to sit over a grill with fried food. Like, on my way home in the morning, I had to pull over on 390 or whatever the highway was.
Yeah.
Like, fucking busy-ass highway to throw up on the side of the highway because... That was horrible. I think they actually let me go home because they knew I was not feeling too well.
Yeah.
Clearly. But yeah.
Oh man, I just had one in my head for a second, and then I lost it.
I had a couple solid parties at Clarkson that when I was younger and going through college, I did a little bit of drinking at parties, but I much more enjoyed watching everyone else get super drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was part of the pep band at Clarkson.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I bet you didn't expect that. Tenor
Yep,
saxophone.
100%.
I know. But the pep band partied harder than most of the other people at Clarkson. So we traveled with the D1 hockey team, which was great. So you would leave on like a Saturday, Friday afternoon. You'd like miss your last set of classes, and the game would be Friday night. So you would drive out to wherever you're going, and you would get plastered on the bus. Mm-hmm. I remember one bus ride, me and a friend drank a whole bottle of UV Blue.
Ew.
That'll do it.
Did no mixers or anything. We were just popping it back and forth in the back of the bus. Our bus drivers would tell us, like, get wasted. I don't care. Just clean up after yourselves after. So we would get to the game. People would bring water bottles full of liquor in. We would play the game. And then we would drive to a hotel near where the second set of games was on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. So it would be in town. We could spend the day in town, wherever we were going. One game, I remember, it was Harvard, so we walked around Boston for a while. It's pretty cool. And then we would just continue the party into the hotel room. And one of the freshman kind of hazing things, it's not really hazing, but as much as just kind of bringing us into the pep band crew. So they brought all the freshmen in and were like talking to us like it was a real meeting of like all the freshmen and making sure you're doing your stuff like this is your first away game. Mm-hmm. And then everyone else came in and you looked and they all had open beers. And you're like, well, that's not that abnormal, but they have 2 open beers, one in each hand. They poured 2 30-packs of Busch Light all over every single freshman in one of the hotel rooms.
Oh.
Trashed this hotel room. My clothes smelled like beer for like a year.
Oh, yeah.
There was just so much beer and everything poured all over us. Mm-hmm. But that was initiation.
Yeah.
I would have thrown that shit in the garbage.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And it was dope. We didn't. Those clothes were like my
dope.
life.
Yeah.
I was like baseball sweats and like a jacket or something like that. But yeah, we went. There are some nights where pep band parties got pretty rowdy.
So both your stories made me think of one.
Perfect.
All right, last story. Let's hear it.
One about clothes and one about barfing in the store. So
right,
the one
2
about
more
clothes,
stories.
I don't really want to talk about. We might get time for that, but we'll talk about the one puking in a bar. So again, San Diego. This was my first time I met these 2 really attractive hot girls, and
They always do it to you, Lewis.
yeah, I don't know, but anyways, we're drinking out and we're at a house party. We're drinking, and all of a sudden we go to another bar, and we wind up at this bar called like Firehouse or something.
I think it was just the Firehouse.
Was
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you with us, me, this time? I'm not sure.
No, I know that I've heard this story though.
This story is anyways, we're all at this bar and we just get drinks and everything, and I'm sitting at the table and I all of a sudden I just can't hold it in anymore and I just puke all over the table. But it's not like chunky puke. It literally, because I didn't eat anything, it was just like I spilt water.
Just the alcohol all coming back
all
up.
over the table. And I'm the only one that knew what happened. So I get up and I just walk out. I just beeline it right for the door. And everyone else is like, well, why did Lewis just leave? And all of a sudden they see the table's wet. And Ben's like, I think he might have just thrown up. So they all followed me out there. And And I'm going back. We're all following them back to this girl's house, and I'm in the background going, "Oh God, I wasn't a champ this time. I was a chump. I was a fucking chump." And they all go inside, and I pass out on their studio, their outside porch, until they're all ready to go.
You're the worst.
Yeah.
While all your other friends were getting laid in the studio apartment.
I don't think they were. It wasn't a
You were
studio. It
passed
was
out.
definitely bigger than a studio. But yeah, that was pretty bad. And I guess I'll tell
I was
the
gonna say I think I have one more story time.
one more.
One more.
All right. So this was when we were in Rochester. I was working at Longhorn Steakhouse at the time, and I went out with a bunch of coworkers and the trainers afterwards, and we're all drinking. This I think where the Irish car bombs started. One of my coworkers got me hooked on Irish car bombs.
It's a perfect story.
So we're drinking, and I finally go, okay, I'm gonna go home. And I remember going home, and I was fine. I didn't feel anything. I remember, one of my coworkers goes, "Hey, are you sure you're good to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." I get in my car, and I start it up. Kids do not do this. This is probably one of the most frightening things that happened in my life. But I remember starting the car up, turning on my lights, and then I remember driving on the road, and then I remember parking the car and looking at my sweatshirt and being like, "Why does this look so weird and sticky?" And anyways, I get out of my car, and it smells weird, but I didn't think of anything of it. I'm like, maybe it's just the booze in my nose. I close the door. And then I go into my room, and this is one of my favorite sweatshirts, too. Take it off, and there's just puke all over the side of it and the front of it and my arm. And I'm like, well, I puked in my car when I drove home, so I put that in my laundry basket. And I wake up the next morning, and I go out to my car, and I go to work or go wherever I am. And I open the door, and there's just puke all over the side of the way and all over the steering wheel. And there was a dent in my hood. But the thing is, I know I didn't crash or anything because the dent was on the top of the hood.
Yeah, so you definitely hit a person.
And they smashed onto it.
Scared the shit out of you. You puked everywhere.
No, because if I hit a person, there would have been blood somewhere.
Not necessarily.
What I think happened is I might have stopped too quickly to somebody, and they got really pissed off, so they smashed the top of my vehicle, or someone had a ladder in their car, and when they backed up, it hit the top of my hood and dented it.
But you totally remember driving home and getting... I feel like that stuff at the end that you thought you remembered, you might have just pieced back together, because...
Could have been. I really do remember my coworker asking me if I was okay, and I said yes.
I believe that part.
I remember getting into my car, turning on the lights. I remember driving, and then I remember closing my door with puke on my sweatshirt. So yeah,
There's a lot of open. How long was the drive that you made?
Oh, it was only like 5 minutes.
Okay.
It wasn't long at all.
I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter because you're still pretty.
I shouldn't have been. That was the last time I ever did anything that stupid in a car. But yeah, please, if you take anything away from this, take away that drinking and driving is a serious matter. Don't do it. You're more than welcome to get obliterated and eat styrofoam, anything like that. But just please don't get behind a car or wheel of a car.
We here at Risky Radio do not condone drinking and driving. Take us out here.
All right, that is going to do it for this special edition of Risky Radio. I had a blast listening to how drunk Lewis gets, and you know what? I hope sometime, Lewis, we can get drunk together
I agree.
and eat styrofoam burritos.
Did you guys high five? Don't eat styrofoam burritos.
Yeah.
Don't do that either.
I've had you can
sounds fun.
eat styrofoam burritos. I'll watch you.
Maybe I'll try it. Thanks for joining us for this special group. We'll catch you next week with a regular edition Risky Radio podcast. All right, have a great night.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
We'll be right back.